For this week's Spotlight Now segment, Seth sits down to talk about the recent immigration policies. Seth?
Thank you, Alex. I'm here with Dr. Emily Estrada, a professor here at SUNY Oswego, whose research revolves around immigration studies. Dr. Estrada, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So just getting right into it, my first question, the Trump administration said recently that they will be cutting transportation funding to states that fail to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement efforts, specifically with some states issuing driver's licenses to those who don't have a legal status. My question to you is the administration legally allowed to withhold this funding to the states that don't comply?
So before I answer the question, I have to give the caveat, I am not a lawyer, I am not a legal scholar, I study immigration, but it's kind of a little bit broader. That being said, we know that the Trump administration is saying that any recipient of federal grant money is obligated to uphold federal policies, federal programs, and that is why they're claiming that they would have potentially the right to withhold transportation money, because the counties and the cities, in accepting that money, are obligated to uphold their priorities, their policies. So that's the Trump administration's stance on this issue. That being said, yesterday, Thursday, April 24th, a federal judge issued an order saying that the Trump administration did not have the right to withhold those monies. On a couple of grounds, they said first, withholding the money would cause irrevocable harm to the people in those cities and in those counties. And then they also said that threatening to withhold the money, or actually withholding the money, would be a federal overreach. And so given the ruling that was issued yesterday, to answer your question very simply, no.
Okay, thank you for your insight. My next question, the economy is always at the top of people's minds these days. What kinds of effects or changes can we see from the tightening of immigration on the economy, for example?
So President Trump has been in office for about 4 months now. It's a little bit early, I think, to get any real economic metrics to kind of think about the causal impact of his immigration policies and the way it's directly impacting the economy. That being said, there are some early signs of what could potentially be coming down the road. Thinking about the role that immigrants have played in our economy, we can think about first, I would say, highly skilled, educated immigrants who come to the United States. They bring their experience, they bring their innovation, and all of that has a significant positive impact on the American economy. We know as of now, in even just a few short months, that applications for student visas, people wanting to come over and study in America, work visas for that highly skilled segment of immigrants, both of those types of visas applications are on the decline. We've seen a significant decrease in people applying for those visas. And so given that, and then kind of given what the consequence of that will be, we can expect to see some negative economic impact.
Right.
We should also think about immigrants who come to the United States and fill those lower paying, lower prestige jobs. Many of these immigrants are unauthorized. And we would also anticipate, with a decrease of those immigrants coming into the United States and with the increase of detention and deportation affecting those communities, we would also anticipate some negative economic impact People working in those positions tend to be very exploitable. They're very vulnerable. Employers just don't have to pay them as much as they have to pay American-born workers.
Okay.
And those costs then get
Pushed onto
the consumers, right? Yeah,
right.
it allows consumers to pay less
Right.
for their consumer purchases.
Right. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. I'm going to throw it back to Alex. Thank you, Dr. Estrada, for joining us again.
Thank
back
you.
to you, Alex.